As I mentioned in the Ford Focus video, car companies register model names for worldwide use. It takes time and money to clear specific names and to make sure a name isn't rude or offensive in another language. So it's natural that names get reused over time. The Ford Focus might be gone in 2026, but it's coming back as a crossover in 2027. The Volkswagen Fox is one of those names the VW group has been using for a while now, and a lot longer than you might suspect. And it's a name that I remember seeing from time to time and wondering where it had come from. If that's you as well, then wonder no longer as we take a look into the long and surprisingly interesting history of the Fox name. The Fox name didn't come from Volkswagen, but from NSU, which Volkswagen acquired in 1969. It was originally the name of a motorcycle sold from 1949. In 1955, it became the Super Fox, a crime-fighting motorcycle. The Super Fox ended production in 1957 as Germans traded motorcycles for cars, and the Fox name was filed away for future reuse. NSU was amalgamated into another Volkswagen purchase, Auto Union, which had been rebranded as Audi. That brand would be the first to reuse the Fox name when the second generation Audi 80 came to North America and Australia in 1973. Marketers felt a name would work better in those markets than a sterile number, despite launching the Audi 100 in North America in 1970. Cars in North America mostly use names, not numbers. Cute names like the Beetle had worked well for Volkswagen in the past. In fact, VW used names like the Rabbit and the Dasher at this time, so rebranding the Audi 80 wasn't a crazy idea. Back in Germany, it seems Audi wasn't so happy with this choice. The Fox name only lasted until 1979, when the car became the Audi 80. The name then disappeared, only popping up occasionally as a trim-level choice like the 1974 Volkswagen Polo Fox. The next time it surfaced would be to sell an old model for a little less. The first generation Jetta was on sale in South Africa. When it was replaced with the second generation in 1984, the old car continued on sale as the Fox. This was a very successful strategy, with many budget-conscious motorists buying one throughout the 1980s. 1990 bought a facelift, and despite the third generation Jetta being introduced in 1993, the original one continued on sale until 1999. The Fox name would be used for another budget vehicle in 1987, this time in North America. Volkswagen were under attack from ultra-cheap competition, cars like the Yugo and the Hyundai Excel. Volkswagen already had a cheaper model being produced in South America, the Gol, not the Golf, the Gol. It's a car I need to do a video on someday, but long story short, the Gol was built on an old 1970s Audi 80 Fox platform, originally using the air-cooled engine from the Beetle. By the time it journeyed northwards, it had lost the Beetle engine, instead sporting a 1.8-litre engine that delivered just enough power for the target customer market. In Brazil, the sedan was called the Voyage, the wagon was the Parati. The styling of both cars took cues from VW's European cars like the Derby, the booted Polo, and the Passat.
An idea whose time has come and gone has come again. Introducing the Volkswagen Fox. At $56.90, it's German engineering everyone can afford. Again.
Volkswagen attempted to draw a clear line from the popular and nostalgic Beetle to this new Fox. This was a spiritual successor, even though in the 70s that had been the Golf. The Fox was cheap motoring for the 80s. According to VW, to buy one you had to be smart like a fox. Cheap motoring also meant bare-bones motoring. The brochure touted radial tyres as one of the car's features, but they'd been standard on cars for over a decade at this point. There was no power steering, only a manual gearbox, which on the sedan was just a 4-speed. You could get a stereo, but that was an optional extra. But the Fox delivered the goods if you were looking for a good deal. The second generation Gol arrived in 1994, but it wouldn't be sold as a Fox in North America. The original Fox hadn't been very profitable there, especially in the early years. The next time the Fox name appeared was 2003, and it was another car produced by Volkswagen of Brazil. The car was based on the latest Polo platform intended to be a replacement for the Gol. German management wasn't so sure this car should be produced, but they came around with it being pitched as a new entry-level world car. During development, the team couldn't make the car cheaply enough to replace the Gol, so it ended up becoming a new model that fit between the Gol and the Polo. Fox wasn't the original name of the car. The Portuguese-speaking team said this was projeto Tupiniquim, or meaning a local or Brazilian project. Tupiniquim got shortened to Tupi, which seemed to be an excellent name for a new car from Brazil for Brazil. But this turned out to be a world car and problems arose. In English, Tupi sounds like you need to go to the toilet, so the team searched for another name and the safe, inoffensive Fox name was chosen. When the Fox launched in Brazil, it sold well, second only to the Gol. Exports began in countries like Mexico, where it had to be rebranded as the Lupo as the name clashed with the name of Mexican President Vicente Fox. Volkswagen didn't want to be accused of political propaganda. It was much easier just to pick another name from the hat. VW sold their own car called the Lupo in Europe, and one of the reasons management approved the Fox was it could serve as a Lupo replacement. The Lupo was a low-cost vehicle made in Germany and Belgium, where labour costs were rising, and this made it harder to produce for a competitive price. Meanwhile, international shipping costs continued to fall. This was the same problem Volkswagen had faced in North America in the 80s, trying to find an entry-level car to compete with cheaper rivals. So in 2005, the German Wolf was replaced by a Brazilian Fox, marking the first time the Fox name had been seen in Europe for 50 years. Inside, it had been up-spec'd from the Brazilian Fox with higher quality materials. It was still basic, but with much more equipment than the bare-bones Fox from the 80s. There was a standard radio CD player for a start and power-assisted steering. The higher spec model, dubbed the Urban Fox, added central locking and electric front windows. With 4 Euro NCAP stars and a good price, what wasn't to like? In 2005, the Fox was modified as the Cross Fox off-roader. Several cars at this time were doing this sort of thing, hiking up the suspension, putting some pseudo off-roady bits all over it and selling it as something more rugged. And like many of those cars, the looks promised way more than they could deliver. The Cross Fox only had 2-wheel drive and only on-road tyres. This was a car for people who liked the look of an SUV but wanted something smaller and less expensive. At the end of 2005, we got the Space Fox, which sounds like the next step in the Brazilian space program. But no, it was a Fox transformed into a mini MPV for those that needed a little more space. With sales doing well, production expanded from Brazil to Argentina. In a rather nice turn of events, the Fox and Gol came together once again with the launch of the new third-generation Gol, which now used the same platform as the Fox. There was a restyle of the Fox in 2010, but the new shape didn't come to Europe. Volkswagen had found a way to produce a competitive entry-level car in Slovakia and also Brazil. The Fox was replaced by the Volkswagen Up, designed in Wolfsburg, Germany. But back in Brazil, the Fox was still being produced. It got another restyle in 2013 using cues from the 7th generation Golf. But underneath, it still used the 2001 4th generation Polo platform. We also got the Fox Extreme. Anything that's marketed as extreme, you already know is definitely not extreme. That 2001 Polo platform wasn't getting any younger and was falling behind the competition, so in 2019 Volkswagen called time on the Fox. Production ended in 2021 and customers were redirected to the Polo. And so the Fox name went back into Volkswagen's bank of pre-approved names. I'm sure to be pulled out again someday, maybe for a driverless car or a flying taxi. The Fox name was a good choice for an entry-level car. Foxes have speed, agility and beauty, all attributes car makers like to associate with their cars. And it's a short name that can be pronounced in many languages, so don't be surprised if you see a Seat or a Lamborghini Fox in the future. Volkswagen once made a car that could go 280 miles per gallon, or could it? The full story is on the right. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.